I'm Corey Stanley, the Navionics Technical Specialist for Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. We're going to dive into a little bit on how to select and kind of give you a history of Costa Del Mar, the background of the company, kind of the things they put into their glasses, and the things they have to offer as far as, selecting the pair of glasses for the situation you're going to be fishing. So first off, if any of you have ever been to one of my webinars, I always start out with a different sonar chart example of why it's important, one, to do the recordings, and two, to make sure that if you're using an avionics mapping card, that you actually have it turned on, have the sonar chart layer turned on. This is the Sabine River. I live here in Orange, Texas. We fished in Bassmaster Southern Open or Central Open here last year. There's some pretty good sonar chart examples here. There's tons of little bayous, canals, that sort of thing. We've done a lot of mapping, kind of getting ready for a couple of years ago when the elites came, and just to kind of show how simple that the sonar chart layer is. You can kind of see all this mapping, all in 1 foot contours all around in here. Turns and comes over this canal. When I started with this canal was not here, and this is literally just one day, me, my family out in the boat. I hit record as we were rattling through some stuff, and as you can see, if I turn that off, all those contour lines go away. So basically the same thing will happen on your graph as well, because what you're going to want to do, especially Hummingbird's pretty good about it automatically coming on. WARRANTIES, you need to make sure you turn on if you have the latest update. It's called sonar chart. If not, it's called the fish and chip layer, and that's basically available on the Platinum card, the Nav Plus card, and the Nav Plus Regions card. All are equipped with the sonar chart feature. So as you can see, this canal here, at least the outline of it's there. There's no contours. You have a lake back here. You come in, turn that on. There's a lot of detail there that you wouldn't get otherwise without turning on that layer. And in these canals, there's not a ton of depth change in them, but just to show that, that it is still substantial with it turned off. Now you can see some holes and stuff like that in the river, right, kind of where it makes this bend. It makes a hole right here in the mouth of it. You turn that off, it's basically all the same. There's nothing different there. Which, it's a simple process to do. Anytime I'm fishing, my home lakes are Rayburn and Toledo Bend. Anytime we're fishing, I basically am recording, updating the different mapping for different areas, and it really helps. And that's kind of the part of the whole sonar chart community is why they average right around 20,000 updates a week. Obviously across the United States and different bodies of water, 20,000 updates a week through the sonar chart program. Like I said, you can see it here when I toggle that on and off in that bottom left-hand corner. Another good example is if you go up to Toledo Bend, which is about an hour and a half north of Orange, Texas. This is kind of the southern end of the lake. Pretty popular part of the lake is 6 Mile in the Sandy Creek area. As you can see, Toledo Bend's a perfect example of using this because you can see that it's perfect cut lines where there used to be data. And the thing with that is, so years ago, Navionics was partnered with Hotspots, not to be confused with Hot Maps. They were partnered with Hotspots. When they split some of the data that is missing, the reason it's in perfect cut lines, this was some of the data that Hotspots was actually providing. So if you're running a WARRANTIES unit, you run out a Platinum card, and this is probably the #1 question we get. Like right now, the Bassmaster class is going on, and when I'm typically there working those booths, the question is, especially like last year it was in Houston, it was, hey, why is Toledo Bend missing all these large areas of data? Where anglers have the data at their fingertips, they're just not turning it on. So you come in here, turn on the sonar chart layer, and all of that flat that you just saw right there, every bit of it's mapped in 1 foot contours. You can kind of see there as I toggle it on and off. Makes a huge difference. Huge difference in the amount of data that's there and what's not there. So that's some guys are just floored with the fact that they've had that at their fingertips in their graph this entire time and they're not taking advantage of it. Because basically the sonar chart layer is all the updates through either recording the boats or fishermen just fishing, doing the community edits, that sort of thing. Um, and one of the questions is it's going to give away where I'm fishing, and that's not the case, because basically what happens if you record one little small area, it's going to assume some of the data around it. So it's going to kind of feather that stuff out. If there's no data at all and you record one area, it's not just going to be like a huge sign saying, "Hey, fish here." That's one big kind of misconception of that. And there's spots like that all over Toledo Bend. If any of you are familiar with that lake, come up. This is Housing Bay, or Housing Bay, or however you want to call it. And you can see like out in front of, close to getting into White Oak, you got a roadbed coming through here, but there's no data whatsoever. You come and, toggle that on, and, there, all that stuff's mapped for the big flat that's out there out front. And you can really kind of see detail of how this, the main river channel runs through, and you've got a drain coming off of it. It's a lot different, with that turned on. All right, guys, moving on. We'll go into, make sure that I'm sharing the right screen. Let's see, let's get into the COSTA. All right, everyone already be able to see the COSTA PowerPoint that we've got here. And this is actually the PowerPoint that was issued or given during the Retail Sales Associate training back in the beginning of the year. They all basically have a training to kind of get them up to speed on, what they should know when they're selling these glasses and going through different stuff with customers. We'll skim through these pretty quickly. I think there's 50 some odd slides. We'll go through it. As you can see, they're numbered on the left side of my screen. I assume everybody can see that. If you have a question about, just kind of jot down or remember what slide number it is, and I don't mind going back to that once we finish up. If we kind of do that now, we'll never finish it. So let's see. Just kind of the contents and what's going on. Kind of gives you a little bit of background of COSTA. They basically, a group of fishermen in 1983 in Florida, Daytona Beach, kind of wanted to design some glasses that were a little above the standard of what was available. Those glasses, from what they started to what they are now, it's amazing the technology they've put into these different, glasses that are available to anglers. They're still in Daytona, and they're still, hammering away at different types of, new innovative ways, and, as to where the sunglasses are going. It's not just the fishermen anymore. I mean, they basically turned into a fashion deal too. I mean, you see tons of people who've never fished a day in their life, and they're wearing COSTA glasses just because the leaps and bounds they've made on, the glass that's being used. COSTA glasses are made in the United States. That's another good thing. They are keeping everything in the U.S. There is components that's made outside, but everything is basically manufactured and built in the United States. So that's always a positive thing. Just kind of giving some background on, all the different areas they've tested these glasses, from the oceans, the mountain climbing, and they really put the, kind of torture tested a lot of the different glasses to make sure they're getting, because it's not just to glare off water. Perfect example, snow skiing, and how bright the snow can be. All those UV rays that are from that white snow and the sun beating down on it. The glasses can protect your eyes from that. We talked earlier about how great the lenses are, but now you're looking at how durable they are too. Because I know me, I've got 4 or 5 pair that stay in the console of my boat, just taking a beating, different waves. Because I try to keep prepared for different situations. Early light, early morning, I like to drive in like a yellow pair of glasses, because they basically make everything stand out. So those things are taking a beating, stuff on top of them, and still perform flawlessly. Even the issues that I've had with them, here and there, COSTA's always stood behind it and fixed any issues that I've had. COSTAs are built by hand in Florida. They're not outsourced as far as, the lenses. They are all built by hand. Going over the warranty, I've had to use the warranty a few times. Between my glasses, my wife's glasses, we've sent them in, the 1195, and you send them in with a waiver, print it out, send it in to them. It's normally 2 or 3 days, and it's a pretty nice process because basically from the time they receive them, you get an email saying, "Hey, we received the glasses, and we're assessing the damage." When they come through, and it's basically there's like when you log on, as you create an account on COSTA.com. And it basically progresses it as it's being fixed. So it'll tell you, hey, we're assessing. And then when they find it, it shows, hey, we figured out what needs to be fixed. And an email has been sent to you outlining the cost and the amount of repairs that we can see. Any pair of glasses I have ever sent, if I sent one in for a nose piece missing, but there was other issues that didn't bother me, like, maybe one of the arms had some of the rubber was coming off of it. They have always fixed every pair of glasses I've ever gotten. They have went above and beyond repairing any issues they see, whether they charge me for them or not. And when I get them back, they're a brand new pair of glasses, basically. They're awesome about just replacing lenses so that you're not getting a brand new pair of frames and with chip lenses. They're not going to do that. They're going to get the glasses back to where they need to be. Whether it's your fault, it's their fault. If it's under the standard warranty, it won't cost you a dime. If it's past this, I think it's a 1-year warranty. If it's past that from the day you bought them, you're basically getting a brand new of $200 and some pair of glasses. And I don't think I've ever paid more than about $65 to have a pair refurbished. And, they always look like the day I bought them when I get them back. Prescription, which we'll cover prescription a little bit later. That's something that just came out, I think, last year with COSTA. They're offering, you can basically do and not just sunglasses, you can do straight prescription glasses that they offer, either tinted sunglasses or just standard reading glasses. And I think they do the 580 and the 400 in both of those. You're kind of showing some of the different partners that they have, that they partner. They're huge in the conservation. One thing that COSTA does put a lot of money and effort into is the conservation side of things. Kind of gives you some facts about, humans throw out 200 billion plastic bottles per year. And 10% of them end up in the oceans, killing different fisheries and stuff like that. If you ever notice a pair of COSTA glasses when you get them in, there's zero plastic on them. There's recycled. They basically come in a zippered case inside of a recycled cardboard box, that has COSTA on it. And saying the goal of COSTA is basically, they're not just looking just to satisfy fishermen. I mean, they're looking to make the best glasses for every situation that you could come across. So getting into the clarity of the lenses, they have 2 levels of clarity. They basically have quit making, to my knowledge, they don't even offer the 400 series lenses anymore. They're making the biggest effort on the COSTA 580G, which is a glass lens. It's a little bit heavier, but in my opinion, I think I like the glass lens a little bit better. I feel like it's a little bit clearer, and I can't tell much difference between the weight between a glass lens and a plastic lens, or a polycarbonate, they're calling it. The poly lenses are a little bit lighter. Obviously, they're not going to shatter as easily as a glass lens, but even the glass lens, unless you get hit in the eye with tungsten or something of that nature, just a standard use, I've never even cracked a glass lens, and that's dropping them off my hat onto the cement, that sort of thing. So it's kind of a personal preference there. Me personally, I like the glass lenses because the one thing about those lenses being so clear and blocking UV rays so well, it basically keeps your eyes in a good relaxed position versus you squinting or straining your eyes and giving you a headache. Talking a little on the 580G, this is the glass lens. Even though they are a little bit heavier than the 580P, the plastic lens, they are still 20% thinner and 22% lighter than the average polarized glasses, which is amazing because it's such a better, it just kind of shows how there are leaps and bounds in technology in some of your standard polarized glasses. kind of what I just touched on, the 580p lenses, they are impact resistant. They're a little bit lighter and they're a little bit more durable lens. Uh, they have a proprietary coating called a seawall that basically blocks out any of the harsh yellow and blue lights. That's kind of the two that are the most dangerous to your eyes. Oh, sorry about that. Kind of showing some of the lights that are blocked out by the different lenses. Here's the top one shows basically the lights that are enhanced and blocked out by the 580 polarized versus a standard lens, and you can kind of see the places that it enhances on your blues and greens and some of your reds versus, and then your yellows, it really blocks those out. That's why when you look through a pair of the 580G lenses, it's basically like you look in HD. You can take a pair and put them on, look out across the yard or something, and the small things like there's more definition in leaves on trees. I mean, it's that big of a difference. You can see a lot more detail in anything you're looking at through those lenses because of the way of this filter right here, how they're basically, you're blocking out all your high energy blue coloration, whereas a standard lens, you can tell just below that is not doing that. The UV coming through there is a lot worse. It's enhancing blue more and the greens, and then blocking out more of the harsh yellow light. And that's one reason it's like looking in HD. Kind of, same deal. Like I was just talking about, you can see textures. You're literally looking like you're looking in HD, versus watching standard definition, versus an HD channel on a TV. Same concept, looking through a standard polarized set of glasses, and you put on a set of 580G COSTAs, and the detail is night and day difference. Kind of a recap of what I was talking about, some the high points on the 580 lens technology. Not blocking out. It is 100% polarization, which helps even more on any kind of glare, the bright yellows, reds, that sort of thing we talked about. Kind of moving on to the frames, like I talked earlier about us having how, mine absolutely take a beating, in the console of my boat, or underneath the seats of them, because I have them jammed in there, to be honest with you. Waves, wind, rain, absolutely just, even in their cases, there's still a lot of beating on them. And the frames are always, held up well. I've never cracked a set of frames. Even I've had instances where I broke a hinge on one, but the frame itself didn't budge. So, that's a good thing. Kind of talking on the nose pads and the earpieces. They're made of rubber. Those, if something's going to wear out, in my opinion, that's what it's going to be. But COSTA is awesome about replacing those. Perfect example, if any of you are around South Carolina getting ready for the Classic, COSTA has been having a booth set up. Obviously, they've always got a booth selling glasses. But the last couple of Classics, they basically have had a repair station set up where they've had technicians come in and either they'll clean them for nothing, replacing, damaged components. If they have the lenses that you have there and you have a crack in one, you have a chip in one, they're replacing them free of charge. Last year I had one of my lenses, just from the fact I have a bad habit of putting mine on top of my hat and it stretches them out. My frames are stretched and they replaced the frames, no charge to me, pop my lenses into those frames like a brand new pair of glasses. So if any of you are out and thinking about going to the Classic, be sure to hit up the COSTA booth and stop and tell those guys hello. COSTA glasses they're not a paint. So they, some glasses are bad about, paint. I know I used to have a few pair of like the Wally X, great glasses, but once I got sunscreen on them, the insides of them would flake. COSTA doesn't paint. It's more of like they fuse colors, almost like a molded stain that they use. So you don't have to worry about the color coming off or flaking or peeling or any of that kind of stuff, even if it's a pair. So basically, once you buy a pair of COSTA glasses, you're making a long-term investment because it's going to last. You can keep those glasses looking new a long time.
They use all stainless steel hinges, that being base, because especially around salt water, that's going to be your number one thing is where there's got anything else on them, the plastics and the glass. But those hinges, if they weren't made of stainless, they have a tendency to corrode up, turn green, and not function properly. So they use a stainless steel hinge that's corrosion resistant and flexible. Like I said, I've actually wore out my frames because I'm bad about putting them upside down on my hat, and it stretches the frames. But I think I've only broke one set of hinges, dropping them or something like that. All right, Costa offers a ton of different frames, 60 or 70 different frames, uh, basically to kind of make sure they fit comfortably on your head. Uh, we'll go to the website in just a second and check that out, but you can go in and basically put your frames in like the size of, or if you have a small, medium, large, extra large head, so that those glasses fit. You don't want to, obviously it's hard to tell, on any glasses online without something like that, because you're looking at them and you don't know if they're a small narrow pair of glasses, you have a wide face, basically the arms are at an angle at all times and they're kind of cutting into the side of your head, and that's not comfortable at all. Costa is pretty good about labeling and kind of setting up the different frame sizes, so you can pick that out even if you're not buying them in the store, trying them on. You can actually see what's best for you. Or my advice would be to get on the website, play around with some different options, and then narrow it down to two or three and go into a store, ask to look at those, and then try them on to make sure you get the ones you want. Again, just there's so many diverse ways, diverse conditions that the Costa sunglasses take care of that you can. Another way you can kind of sort them on the website is if you're wanting just like a pair of like the aviator style shades for lounging around or driving or something like that. Uh, that's going to be, you're going to want different things than someone who's a competitive tournament angler or a guy who fishes offshore, or something like that, where you're going to want to wrap around glasses to where you're letting zero light in. Or a guy who's sight fishing may want something a different, for fish that are on beds during the spawn are going to want something different than a guy who's just simply driving around on a ski boat or something. So it's good to know exactly what you want out of them. Um, they have a ton of different colors that block out different things. Like we were talking earlier, if I'm sight fishing, freshwater for bass, I'm going to have on most of the time the green or blue lens. That's just my personal favorite. Early morning, we're taking off, or if it's rainy and cloudy, if I'm driving in the rain on the highway, I like to wear a yellow or the brown type lens. It's pretty amazing to take if you're driving on the freeway while it's raining, to take and put a pair of glasses on when you wouldn't think you typically need them, and how much it clears up a lot of the just spray from other vehicles in the mist. You can see through them so much better. Kind of touch what I touched earlier, how to choose a frame. It kind of walks you through step by step on their website, which we'll do in a minute. Uh, Looking forward to, we touched on this earlier about the Costa prescriptions. These are going to be more in the polarized style that you can pick out. Like with me, I wear contacts. So if I wanted to, I could basically just go to a straight prescription style glasses and not have to wear contacts, when I'm fishing tournaments, that sort of thing. Um, again, they have the same technology to where your reds, your blues, your greens are going to be a lot brighter, clearer. Again, looking through a high HETV. Kind of the same deal, touching base on on the prescription. They do basically some of the same things that uh, the standard sunglasses do. And this is a perfect example of what I was talking about. I'm looking through an HDTV. The left one is a standard sun lens, and then looking through a Costa 580 lens. That's a much better picture. And in my opinion, anything, greens, blues, that sort of thing, the definition is so much better on a 580G lens than anything I've ever was able to use.
It's kind of touching base on some of the different stuff with the wrap sunglasses. In a prescription, the way that they do the actual in the Waypoint lens, the way they do the prescription, but you won't have the, some sunglasses, the very center is your exact prescription, and then it kind of funnels its way out. So you kind of have a little bit of a curve effect, I guess you'd call it, when you're looking out, because it's not, the whole thing is not your exact prescription. Whereas COSTA, they do a lot bigger area to where the whole thing is, is your actual prescription, to where you don't have that issue. So if you're looking through the corner of your eye, in this top glasses, you're going to basically end up straining your eyes, headaches, that sort of thing. Whereas the bottom glass, that's not the issue. Looking at the way that some of the prescription lenses are built, how they protect the prescription lens, the polarized film. There's a lot of steps that go into making these lenses, and making them scratch resistant. A COSTA lens, are etched, so you can tell that it is a authentic COSTA sunglasses. Here's talking the COSTA prescription warranty. Within 60 days of original invoice date, you may make one change in prescription at no charge to any original pair of COSTA, as long as you send them back. You can send them back, but there will be, after that, there is a cancellation policy, but there is a 50% charge. Any, issues that's a COSTA problem, they'll replace them, no problem. If you break them, it's not going to be they're not going to cover that, obviously, just neglect. Here's a prescription availability in the 580G lens. Here's the colors that are available in the gray or the copper. So the copper is the kind of the color I like to, copper or amber are the colors I like to fish in. If it's real cloudy, rainy, those sort of things. It helps your visibility when driving a boat type thing. Here's showing some of the COSTA opticals. These are just the standard these are prescription non-polarized glasses, something that's new for last year. Basically showing some, just typical reading glasses, if you will, but a COSTA brand. So they're still stylish like the typical COSTA glasses, but they're just a standard reading glasses. And it kind of shows a few of the options, the Ocean Ridge, available for $150. But they're all still built with the same technology, just in very high quality lenses, but just no polarization on them. If you just need them for an everyday use type glasses, I'll kind of skip through those. That's the end of that PowerPoint. So let me go over and we'll go to the website and take a look at that. All right, guys, here's the standard, the COSTA website. Like I said here, to show my COSTA account. Once you say, if you send some back, you'll be able to come here because it's going to ask you to create one. Kind of see, I've already got one. You would log in and would basically, there's a deal that's going to show you, anything that your customer service stuff. If I was waiting on, something to be fixed, it would show up here. It would show me the progress of it and, how it was, how everything was going with that. So picking out glasses with me, go here to men, the angler, water sports, just the kind of standard glasses. You can see right here, if you just want to browse them, on the left-hand side, it basically shows your head size. This will kind of allow you to know if you're, if it's a pair of glasses you like, gives you an idea if it's something that's right for you. If you have a large head, you're not going to come and pick out a set of glasses, out of the medium or even a small head frame. That's going to give you a headache if it's too tight. Or if you have a small head, you're not going to pick out one of these that have the huge lenses and the extra large. They have a huge selection of apparel as well. I'll come to men and then angler. So you have drop down arrows. It'll give you your frame width, go large, the lens color that you want. If you don't know what lens color you want, you cannot select that. You can go frame color. All right, I like a black frame. And then as you do that, basically it'll narrow down some of the stuff. Lens material, I want the polarized glass. Every time you do that, it's basically narrowing down I'm down to 8 results. So like, all right, I like the Reefton, so I'd select it, and it's basically going to show me every combination that's available for those glasses, depending on what I plan to do with them. It gives you some recommended accessories, shows everything included. They come the COSTA case, the cleaning cloth, and then a label so you can return them. So what's awesome about that is if you get them in and they don't fit the way you thought they would, you can put it right back in the box. It has a return label, send them right back, and they'll refund you your money. Right now they're doing an offer where it's free shipping. I decide maybe I don't want that color. So it's the green mirror. This is what I would use for a sight fishing type deal. Another lens that has really taken off is the Sunrise Silver. And the copper silver both have the Sunrise lenses, though, have really taken off well, and they're a really good all-purpose lens. But see, you can really dig into these things. So, you decide you want that. There's a list of reviews on them. Like on this pair of glasses here, there's 173 reviews. You can go through and read every one of those before you make a purchase. As you can see on the reviews, 147 of them gave them 5 stars, 18 gave 4 stars, and there's only a handful that are below that. So overall, it's a 4.8. So it's pretty neat to be able to see that. And you can come in here and see the specs. It'll give you a measurement of, the frame width, the bridge height, all of that kind of stuff. So you'll have an idea before you ever. It really makes it really easy to order online without having to go to a store if needed, because of the fact that they do offer so much information. I still like to go to our local, one of the local shops. There's a couple of really good COSTA dealers in our area that have a huge selection. Kind of what I like to do, but for someone that doesn't have that, their website really makes it easy to figure out, which one's best. See, now when we dug into the performance technology, it gives you an overview of each lens and what it's best for. Like I was saying earlier, I like to drive in that copper lens, or the Sunrise Silver in low light. The copper silver is a good just all around lens. Now the blue mirror and the green mirror are the two that I like to sight fish in. The blue mirror, as you can see, is open reflective glare. It's for open reflective water, so it blocks out a ton of glare when you're fishing. Same with the green. It blocks out a lot of your contrast. If there's pollen on the water, it helps a ton with that. Like we were saying earlier, they do offer an aviator style glasses. They a ton of those that, if it's not for fishing, you want them for everyday use, that you can still wear COSTAs, and even though you're not buying them for a fishing application. And guys, that kind of sums up most of what I wanted to cover. I was going to leave the last 10, 15 minutes of the deal if anyone had any questions. So if anyone has any questions, now would be the time to go into the chat, type what you had, and I'll basically go through and answer one by one, the best of my knowledge. If I can't, I can figure it out to you. You can shoot me an email if I tell you, cstanley@navionics.com, and I can get the right answer for you. Anyone have anything? If you have any questions at all, just type them right there in the chat, and I'll get to them. Mario asked if there's a lens is best when using iPads and iPhones.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird deal there when using polarized glasses. I would go more the neutral, like the ones we were looking at earlier with the like the copper lens. If I can get this thing to scroll down. It's kind of like anytime you're inside tinted windows, it's the same well. It's the same deal. You'll see those lines on it, kind of like you do a screen. But the sunrise silver is kind of a neutral lens. It's very good for reading iPhones, iPads, just a general lens like that. It's not trying to block out as near as much. Yeah, Daniel asked if you can read a depth finder. There's not a single pair of lens that has ever had an issue with any of the units. I've had the Humminbird 1199s, HDS 12. I'm in a lot of people's boats doing different working, getting the settings right on them, make sure their Navionics cards are working properly. And there's never been an issue with any of the lenses I've had on seeing a depth finder. Now, even I've got the Solix 15 and Solix 12 on my current boat, and yeah, they're still very clear. Does anybody else have anything? All right, guys. Look, I appreciate everyone that tuned in. I'll be doing another one. You can check the Navionics. That's something we will look at real quick. I assume most of you saw this from the, but you can go to the Navionics website, and they will actually publish every month they will publish every month the webinar lit schedule that's coming up that month. I'll be giving another one, I think, in May over flipping grass. I'm sorry. Big Nasty said, see question above. Did I miss one? Big Nasty, I actually don't see a question above. I answered on the reading the depth finder and the using the iPads. Mario asked any thoughts on changes happening to Navionics now that the Garmin owns the company. As of now, we've been told they're not going to change anything. They're going to be treated as two standalone companies. So as of now, we're being told no, everything's going to keep running as I know there's a lot been interaction. The only thing I would think would happen at some point, you would think that the Garmin units would be able to take a Navionics card. But as of now, no, there is no change that has happened. The Garmin guys have been great to work with, a lot of interaction with those guys. And, everything, as of right now, no, there has been no changes. Mark, any COSTA coupon available? I am trying to work on that. My contact at COSTA, they're actually all at the Classic right now. So if I can get something like that, we'll try to do a random drawing for everyone who attended. I've got the attendees list, and I'll do random draws for all that. Big Nasty asks, how do they compare to the Maui Gems and Canon hardcore lenses? I've never used the Canon lenses. I have compared them to a Maui Gem. In my opinion, they're a little more of an HD lens, like I was saying. The Maui Gems make a great lens. The COSTAs, in my opinion, are a little more durable, a little bit better definition, I guess you'd say, on some of the coloring that they block out. Like I was saying earlier, guys, you can go to the navionics.com website. There's a link that says webinar, and they'll actually post all the upcoming webinars. I know I'm doing one in May over flipping grass with using Humminbird Solix units, kind of reading the grass on those. So everyone enjoy everybody being there. And I do appreciate everyone attending this one. With that being said, I am going to end the webinar now, and I do appreciate it, guys.